What if everything you think you know about living is actually keeping you trapped in an illusion? What if the very thoughts you trust most are the bars of your own mental prison? Shaolin Master Shi Hengyi has spent decades unraveling the deepest deceptions of the human mind. If you're ready to stop living in shadows and start experiencing authentic existence, this will change everything. Why do we suffer when things change? What if the very foundation of your emotional pain is built on a lie so fundamental that recognizing it instantly dissolves years of struggle? Master Shi Hengyi teaches from the Shaolin tradition that our first illusion is believing anything in life is permanent. We cling to relationships, possessions, even our own identities, as if they're eternal, but everything flows like water. Think about your last heartbreak, job loss, or major life change. The pain wasn't from the event itself, it was from resisting the natural flow of life. Ancient Buddhist texts call this dukkha, suffering caused by attachment to the impermanent. Here's a powerful exercise from Shaolin practice. Each morning, look at something you value and remind yourself, this too shall pass. Not to create sadness, but to cultivate appreciation for the present moment. When you stop trying to freeze life into permanent pictures, you start experiencing its beautiful, ever-changing movie. The secret? Stop grasping. When you realize that impermanence is the only constant, you stop fighting reality and start dancing with it. This single shift transforms suffering into acceptance. Who are you really when you strip away your job title, your social media persona, your achievements and your failures? What remains when the mask finally falls? The ego creates elaborate stories about who we are. Successful, unsuccessful, victim, hero. But these are just mental constructs. Shi Hengyi speaks about the illusion of the self and how we mistake our thoughts for our identity. Consider this, you wake up with 60,000 thoughts per day and most people believe every single one. I'm not good enough, I'm better than them, I'm a failure, I'm special. But here's the revelation. These are just thoughts, not truth. In Shaolin training, monks practice no mind, a state where you act without the constant mental commentary. Imagine playing sports or creating art where you're completely absorbed, no self-judgment, no mental chatter. That's your authentic self, pure awareness without the ego's stories. Try this tonight. Sit quietly and watch your thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. Notice how they come and go without your control. You are not the clouds, you are the sky itself, vast and unchanging. The Master's teaching. You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness that observes them. When you stop identifying with the mental chatter, you discover your true nature, infinite and free. Why do you want what you want? Did you choose your desires, or did they choose you? What if your deepest aspirations are actually someone else's programming? Society implants beliefs about success, happiness and worth. We chase external validation without questioning if these goals align with our authentic nature. Shi Hengyi reflects on social media's grip on our identity and how we lose ourselves in others' expectations. Think about your childhood dreams versus your current goals. When did you stop wanting to be an astronaut and start wanting to impress your neighbors? Somewhere along the way, authentic desires got replaced by social programming. The advertising industry spends billions studying how to make you feel incomplete without their products. Social media algorithms are designed to trigger comparison and inadequacy. Even educational systems often prioritize conformity over creativity. But here's the Shaolin insight. A tree doesn't try to become a flower. It grows according to its nature. When you align with your authentic self, rather than society's expectations, you stop competing and start creating. The awakening. Question everything you've been told to value. True freedom begins when you stop living other people's dreams and start discovering your own path. Where is your mind right now? Are you here, or are you lost in yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's worries? What if the secret to ending psychological suffering is simpler than you imagine? Most humans live everywhere except the present moment. We replay the past, rehearse the future, but miss the only moment where life actually happens, now. Research shows the average person spends 47% of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they're currently doing. That's almost half of life missed while mentally elsewhere. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination. But we treat these mental constructs as more real than the present. Shaolin monks train present moment awareness through daily activities. When they sweep, they only sweep. When they eat, they only eat. This isn't just mindfulness, it's reality training. The present moment is the only place where you have any actual power to change anything. Here's the practice. Choose one daily activity. Drinking tea, walking, washing dishes, and do it with complete attention. Notice when your mind wanders, then gently return to the experience. This simple training gradually breaks the addiction to mental time travel. Shouheng Yi's practice, breath awareness. When you anchor attention to your breathing, you return to reality. The past is memory, the future is imagination, only now is real. What if your desperate need to control results is actually preventing you from achieving them? What if letting go is the key to having everything you want? We suffer not because we don't get what we want, but because we're attached to getting it. This attachment creates anxiety, desperation, and ultimately blocks our natural flow. Consider a job interview where you're desperately attached to getting hired. Your desperation shows up as nervousness, overthinking. But when you approach it with genuine interest while being unattached to the outcome, you naturally perform better. In Shaolin archery, masters teach students to draw the bow, aim with precision, then release completely. The moment of release determines accuracy, not the intensity of your grip. Clinging to the arrow after release doesn't make it fly straighter, it makes your form worse for the next shot. This doesn't mean being passive or not caring, it means doing your absolute best while surrendering the results. This paradox, maximum effort with minimal attachment, is the secret to both inner peace and outer effectiveness. The master's wisdom: do your best, then surrender the results. When you plant seeds without attachment to the harvest, you find peace in the process and trust in the outcome. What if your greatest wounds could become your greatest strengths? What if the very experiences you resent most are actually your path to freedom? Many people build their identity around their suffering, becoming addicted to the story of being wronged. But victimhood is a prison that keeps you powerless. The victim mentality is seductive because it removes responsibility. I can't succeed because of my past. I can't trust because I was hurt. I can't change because of my circumstances. These stories feel true, but they're actually chains that keep you trapped in past experiences. Shaolin history is filled with masters who transformed their greatest challenges into their greatest teachings. Physical disability became deeper inner strength. Personal loss became compassionate wisdom. Betrayal became unshakable self-reliance. Here's the reframe. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every challenge contains a hidden gift: increased resilience, deeper empathy, clearer boundaries, or stronger character. The very qualities you need for your next level of growth often come disguised as problems. The warrior's mindset doesn't deny pain. It transforms pain into power. Not by suppressing the experience, but by extracting its wisdom and using it as fuel for evolution. Shouheng Yi teaches, every challenge is training. When you stop asking why me and start asking how can this make me stronger, you transform pain into power. Why do your emotions control you instead of you controlling them? What if you could experience feelings without being overwhelmed by them? Most people are slaves to their emotional reactions. They feel angry, so they act angry. They feel sad, so they become sad. But emotions are just energy in motion. They don't have to define you. Consider road rage. Someone cuts you off, anger arises, and suddenly you're tailgating, shouting, ruining your entire day over a stranger's mistake. The initial trigger lasted seconds, but the emotional reaction hijacked hours of your life. In Shaolin training, monks learn to observe emotions like weather patterns. A storm doesn't become the mountain, it passes over the mountain. Similarly, anger, fear, or sadness can move through you without becoming you. The practice involves 3 steps. First, notice the emotion arising without judgment. Second, breathe deeply and create space between feeling and reaction. Third, respond from wisdom rather than impulse. This isn't suppression. It's conscious response instead of unconscious reaction. Neuroscience confirms that emotions typically last only 90 seconds if you don't feed them with thoughts. The pain you feel is often not the original emotion, but your resistance to feeling it. The practice: observe emotions like clouds passing through the sky. Feel them fully, but don't identify with them. This creates space between stimulus and response, the space where freedom lives. When did you last experience complete silence, not just external quiet, but inner stillness? What treasures might be waiting in that sacred space? Shouheng Yi speaks about the loss of sensitivity in a speed-driven culture. We've become addicted to noise, stimulation, and constant activity, but wisdom emerges from stillness. Modern humans fear silence because in quiet moments they encounter themselves without distraction. We fill every moment with music, podcasts, social media, or mental chatter, but this constant stimulation numbs our natural sensitivity to life's subtleties. In Shaolin temples, monks begin each day with periods of complete silence, not meditation techniques or guided practices, just pure receptive stillness. In this space, intuition speaks louder than thought, and deeper intelligence emerges beyond the analytical mind. Think of stillness like tuning a musical instrument. When there's too much background noise, you can't hear if the strings are in harmony. Only in silence can you detect the subtle vibrations that need adjustment. Ancient masters discovered that solutions to complex problems often arise not through thinking harder, but through thinking less. When you stop forcing answers and create space for insight, wisdom naturally emerges from deeper levels of consciousness. The master's method: daily silence practice. Even 5 minutes of complete stillness can reconnect you with your inner wisdom and natural intuition. What if fighting against natural rhythms is why you feel exhausted? What if synchronizing with nature's cycles could restore your energy and clarity? Modern life disconnects us from natural rhythms. We work against our body's needs, ignore seasonal changes, and force productivity when we need rest. Shi Hengyi emphasizes the need to realign with nature. Our ancestors lived by the sun's schedule, slept when darkness fell, ate seasonal foods and rested during winter. But artificial lighting, processed foods and air conditioning have severed this connection. We push through fatigue with caffeine, ignore hunger with busy schedules, and wonder why we feel depleted. Traditional Chinese medicine recognizes that humans are part of nature's larger system. When we align with natural cycles, sleeping during darkness, eating fresh foods, honoring seasonal changes, our energy naturally increases because we're working with our biology instead of against it. Consider your natural energy patterns. Are you a morning person, forcing yourself to work late? Do you eat the same foods year-round? Do you maintain the same activity level regardless of season? Small adjustments toward natural alignment can create dramatic improvements in vitality. Even in urban environments, you can reconnect. Expose yourself to morning sunlight, eat seasonally available foods, take breaks in nature, and honor your body's signals for rest and activity. The return: sleep when tired, eat when hungry, rest when needed. Simple alignment with natural rhythms can heal decades of accumulated stress. What if your mind is like your stomach? It becomes sick when you feed it junk. What if changing what you consume could change who you become? We mindlessly consume information, entertainment, and experiences without considering their impact on our consciousness. Just as junk food affects physical health, junk thoughts affect mental clarity. The average person consumes 34 GB of information daily, equivalent to watching 9 hours of HD video. Most of this is mental junk food: social media drama, negative news, mindless entertainment, and other people's opinions. This information doesn't just pass through you, it shapes your thoughts, emotions, and worldview. Shaolin monks are extremely selective about what enters their consciousness. They understand that every piece of information either elevates or diminishes their mental state. Consuming anger-inducing content makes you angry. Consuming fear-based news makes you fearful. Consuming wisdom-based content makes you wise. Consider this experiment. For 1 week, eliminate all negative news, social media arguments, and trash TV. Instead, read books that inspire you, listen to conversations that educate you, and spend time with people who elevate you. Notice how your thoughts, emotions, and energy shift. You are what you eat, but you also become what you think. And what you think is largely determined by what you consume mentally. The discipline: consciously choose what enters your mind, quality over quantity. Information that elevates rather than agitates. This simple shift can transform your entire mental landscape. What if avoiding discomfort is actually causing your suffering? What if the very challenges you resist are exactly what you need for growth? We've been conditioned to avoid difficulty, but Shi Hengyi teaches that achieving our highest potential requires overcoming hindrances. Comfort zones are beautiful places where nothing grows. Consider physical fitness. Muscles only develop when stressed beyond their current capacity. The discomfort of exercise signals growth, not harm. Similarly, psychological strength develops only when you face challenges that stretch your current capabilities. Modern culture promotes the illusion that life should be comfortable, convenient, and painless. But this creates weak, entitled, and ultimately miserable people. The happiest, most fulfilled individuals consistently choose meaningful challenges over momentary comfort. Shaolin training intentionally includes difficult practices, cold water immersion, extended meditation, physical conditioning, and mental discipline. These aren't punishments, but preparations. Each challenge overcome increases your capacity to handle life's inevitable difficulties. Here's the reframe. Discomfort is data, not danger. When you feel resistance to something important, having a difficult conversation, starting a business, learning a new skill, that resistance often indicates growth opportunity. The Master's Paradox? The path of least resistance leads to maximum suffering. The path of chosen difficulty leads to maximum strength. The Warrior's Path: seek challenges that forge character. Every difficulty you overcome expands your capacity for life. This is how ordinary people become extraordinary. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What if your deepest calling is not a luxury, but a necessity for a life well lived? The final illusion is that purpose is something you find outside yourself. But purpose isn't discovered, it's uncovered. It's been within you all along, waiting beneath layers of conditioning and fear. Most people spend their lives doing what they think they should do, rather than what they feel called to do. They choose security over authenticity, approval over alignment, and comfort over calling. But this creates a subtle form of spiritual death, existing without truly living. Your authentic purpose isn't necessarily your career, though it might be. It's the unique contribution that only you can make to the world. It's the intersection of your natural gifts, deepest values, and the world's needs. When you align with this purpose, work becomes play, and effort becomes effortless. Shaolin masters teach that everyone has a unique Buddha nature, an essential self that wants to express through this lifetime. Suppressing this nature creates suffering. Expressing this nature creates fulfillment. The signs of authentic purpose. Time disappears when you're engaged in it. You feel energized rather than drained. You naturally excel without forcing. People are drawn to your enthusiasm. You would do it even if no one paid you. Stop waiting for permission to be yourself. The world needs what you uniquely offer, and you'll never be completely happy until you give it. Shi Hengyi's ultimate teaching. You have everything you need within you right now. Stop searching for permission to be yourself. Start living from your authentic nature and watch how reality reshapes itself around your truth. These 12 steps aren't just concepts. They're a complete system for breaking free from life's deepest illusions. The question isn't whether they work, but whether you're ready to do the work. Which step resonated most with you? Share your thoughts below, and if this opened your eyes to new possibilities, subscribe for more life-changing wisdom.